Coach Mel coming to you live from Coach Mel's Group Fitness. So today is actually not a workout. Our 10-minute tidbit is going to be about a push-up progression. So a push-up is a full body move that uses a lot of core muscles. It's really a chest exercise when you kind of categorize it by body part. And today we're going to talk about starting out on a wall. We will then move over to doing it from our knees, and then we will also do it from our toes. But I want to show you this progression because a push-up is very difficult to get good form on, and you need to make sure that you're protecting, especially your back, is where you can really get hurt if you don't do a push-up properly. And what you should do on this is start on the wall once you feel that you've mastered that and you have good form and you're able to do 3 sets of 10 pretty easily. Then you're going to move over to the floor. And even when we start on the floor, we're going to start, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to progress on the floor until you get to that full motion. And then we're going to go to the toes. And again, we're going to progress by doing it in a couple different stages before you get to that full push-up. I'll be quite honest with you, push-ups are my nemesis. I have a very hard time with them. I could probably only do 3 or 4. So I'm hoping by the end of this, by the time I get to my toes, I'm still able to show you good form on a push-up. So let's get started. We're going to start right here at the wall, and then at some point I'm going to turn everything so that we're going to be going in the other direction. I'll warn you when that's coming. If you get motion sick at all, I know I do. I can't look at something like that, but I'm going to turn the cameras so that they're facing the other direction. We're going to start right here on the wall. And really the way you're going to start is pretty close to the wall. Again, you can progress yourself also on the wall. I'm going to fix this a little bit so that I'm not chopping my head off. Okay, actually, you know what? I'm going to change my mind and bring that back down. I want you to see my feet. My head aren't as important, and they'll be going towards the wall. So I'm probably, well, my arm length away from the wall to start. Okay, I'm going to put my hands right out in front of my shoulders. All right, and I'm going to let my forehead come towards the wall by bending my elbows. I'm coming forward. I'm letting my heels come up, rocking off my toes a little bit, and pushing myself away from the wall. Coming forward, pushing myself away from the wall. Hand placement is important. You don't want to be way up here. You don't want to be way down here. You want to be right out in front of your shoulders, towards the wall and up. Now, a progression on the wall would be just to bring your feet back a little bit further. That's putting more of your weight into that push-up. Notice again, I'm letting my heels naturally come off the floor. I am not going up on my toes on purpose. That's just because I'm keeping my body nice and flat, okay? All right, I'm gonna move you. So if motion bothers you, close your eyes for a moment. We're just going to twist everything so that I come over to where I have my mat on the floor. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the progression on the knees. And it's not about going right to a full push-up from your knees. You may want to start halfway in either the lower half or the upper half. So knees are right in line with your hips. Important here is that the back is nice and flat, okay? Now, if you want to just start with a small bend in the elbows, you can just come here and push yourself back up. Come here, push yourself back up, all right? That would be what I would call the top half of that push-up and just starting. Now, another thing to do, just to start to get those muscles, get your abs nice and tight, would be to just go all the way down, but go down nice and slow. And then let yourself rest, all right? And then push yourself up however you're gonna get up. We're not working on that up portion right now, but working on bringing yourself down nice and controlled. Now, some people get to a certain point and then their arms can't hold it anymore and they flop down. Just make sure that you're on a nice soft surface so that as you're coming down, if your arms give out on you, you're not gonna get hurt, okay? The other one would be to start from the bottom. So get yourself into this position. Abs are nice and tight. Tuck those hips a little bit and push yourself up. The important thing here is that your back is nice and flat. Hips are tucked. What you don't want is this. Okay, you don't want that back to go into an arch. Also, no crossing of the feet, all right? I'm keeping my knees about hip width apart. I'm keeping a hinge on my knees as I come down and push myself up. Now, standard push-up, your elbows are gonna kind of go out about a 45-degree angle. If you wanted to work your triceps, the upper back of your arm, you're gonna tuck those elbows in, and when you do your push-up, you want those elbows to be rubbing right against your rib cage. Those are much more difficult, so work on your standard push-up before you go to doing the tricep push-up, okay? So let's look at that full motion once again. So you're gonna get yourself into that good position form. Head is out, looking a little bit forward. What you don't wanna do is drop your head, okay? Very common mistake made in push-ups is people do this. Well, I'm getting closer to the floor, but they're not really bending their arms and getting close to the floor. They're dipping their neck down. So keep your neck nice and neutral. Let your elbows go out away from you as you come down, nice and controlled, and then push yourself up. Now, what I would suggest that you do is start at just half push-ups. Do them for a few weeks. Again, until you can get about 10 repetitions in, take a rest. Do 10 more, take a rest, do 10 more. Until you are super comfortable with that, you don't want to progress to the next step. You want to get strong enough to be controlled in any one segment of this before you go on to the next piece, okay? Let me show you one more time. You have the lower half, which would be down here. Make sure that that back is nice and flat, just pushing halfway up. Well, that was all the way up, sorry. Halfway up and down. All right, you have the top half, which would be here, halfway, or you have the full range of motion, all the way up, all the way down. Okay, so now we have to go into the full push-up. Couple of things. First off, to make it easier, the wider you put your feet, it's gonna make it a little bit easier. Again, you want your elbows to go out and away. They're not perfectly out from your shoulders, almost like a 45-degree angle back. But you really can't even start a push-up until you know how to get yourself into that right plank position, okay? So, hands are directly underneath the shoulders. You're gonna come up on your toes, and we need to keep ourselves nice and flat. So again, we don't want that to happen. Oof, I feel that in my back, all right? We want ourselves to be nice and flat. Again, I would start this in a progression, okay? So what I like to do on this one is work on that slow down, 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 and rest. Don't try to push yourself up right away, all right? Just bring yourself back up, get into your tabletop, go back into your plank, good plank position, and just work on lowering yourself down first. That right there takes a lot of strength to come down into that push-up, okay? Now again, you can do a half up. Up is tough, but starting all the way down and just coming up a little bit. Okay, that's really hard. That's the start of that bottom up push-up. So if you want to progress from bringing yourself down, you may want to start with just a little half push-up. So I'm bending those elbows about halfway, bringing myself back up. I don't want to do too many or I'm not going to be able to show you a full one. All right, so again, progressions. Lowering yourself nice and slow, you may get to a point that your arms give out on you. So just be sure that you're on something nice and soft so that if that does happen, you're not getting hurt. Keeping that neck in good alignment, don't let your head dip. All right, keeping everything in good alignment, and spread your feet apart a little bit more when you're first starting that. That wider base is gonna make it a little bit easier, okay? Now, a full push-up, you should really be getting yourself just hovering off of that mat before you come back up. I see a lot of people that do push-ups this way, all right? That butt is going up in the air. Let's tuck that butt. We don't want that butt in the air. And then I see a lot of just, this. That's not a push-up, okay? Let's go into that full push-up. I'm going to keep my feet a little bit wide. I'm going to get into that good plank position, squeezing through the abs through the chest, keeping my head looking out forward. Lower yourself, and then push up. It's got to all come up together. You don't want that lower back to arch, okay? So again, push-ups are a tough thing, but use this as a framework. Kind of write down these little steps and maybe set a goal. Maybe you're gonna do 2 weeks on the wall and get really comfortable with that. Or if you don't need the wall and you're gonna come down to the floor, start with just on your knees and lowering yourself down. And then bring yourself back up into, just on your knees. Lower yourself down. Don't worry about the pushing up yet. Then just do halfway ups, do halfway downs, still on your knees, and then eventually progress yourself. And this should take several weeks before you can get yourself to 1 full push-up. When you do, please let me know. That's a great accomplishment. As you can see, I did 2 right there, with that other work, but they're not easy. They're tough. It's your body weight that is having to be pushed up through your chest, and you really need a lot of core strength. Please, 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 if you feel your low back starting to arch, stop doing it the way that you're doing them. Refocus, maybe take a rest. You do not want to hurt your lower back on this. Keep your shoulders out nice and wide. Don't let them collapse in. Keep them out nice and wide. And just work on this. This is something that you need to work on. You need to work on it. I would say try to get a few do some type of routine with push-ups at least 3 to 4 times a week if you really want to progress to having successful, good form push-ups from your toes. All right, so that's today's 10-minute tidbit. I hope that you enjoyed this. Please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. There's tons of videos out there for you to check out, all different types of 10-minute tidbits. I am here live each weekday around 11 o'clock to bring you a little something that you can do to help yourself. Because remember, we want to make sure that you're healthy before you need to be healthy. I'll see you again real soon.